Sometimes we don't talk about how women date their sons. And single mothers oftentimes do everything but their sons. And that's the reason why I say, a single mother is a boy factory. And the reason why I say that is because it's not that a boy can't be birthed from a two-parent home, although it is, it's an abnormality, it's an anomaly of sorts that you would encounter a significant amount of subpar men that have been raised in destructive two-parent homes. But single women become so emotionally dependent upon their children, specifically their sons, that they will convince themselves that they don't need a man until they encounter the space from being alone to genuinely being lonely. And now we're having to deal with the imbalance that was set in the household, because this boy is not your son, he is your man.
Welcome to Male Reality Lessons, where topics are reviewed and discussed as iron sharpens iron. Greetings. Before we step into today's video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Male Reality Lessons. We're a new channel and we're trying to grow. Greetings. As we come to the close of another year, I want to thank everyone for patronizing the channel. Today's episode, we're going to focus on the crisis at hand, a society lost. If we don't seriously consider choosing another course of action, particularly in the Black community, our existence here in the U.S., as well as other modern cultures, is pretty much going to be extinct. The family is in crisis. Single mother households are at an all-time high, peaking at almost 70%. This can be examined on various resources such as the Census Bureau, as well as blackdemographics.com, and has been reported on various news and media outlets. But you don't have to take it from me. We will examine several news clips as well as other information sources, and you can make the determination for yourself and take a conscious decision to make a change in the new year coming forth.
I gotta laugh. I gotta laugh when I say this, because the females get so mad, but we are in a fucking crisis, a pandemic with this single mother and shit. And it's crazy because you could literally Google it, just like so. And let me back up. In my spare time, I read a lot of boring shit. I like social science, and I like to read Harvard studies and just different studies where they do statistics and polls on us as a people, just all different types of backgrounds and people. And it is a proven fact. And if you don't know what a fact is, look it up. But it is a proven fact that single mother households produce the worst product.
Facts.
It's a
100% fact, yeah.
If you take two-parent households, single father household, single mother household, statistically based on facts.
Yep, you're right.
The household with the woman heading it by herself produces the worst product. And for our people, for Black people, for African American people, those single mother households are the reason why prisons are filled with a good majority of our
You're 100%
people,
right.
So these are facts. You sit this on the table. Here go the facts. And then you say, so y'all need to start valuing men being involved in the lives of your children. Mm-hmm. I can't make you be with your baby daddy, or we can't say that somebody has to stay with somebody, because we know that children are being born out of situations where the two people aren't healthy together.
Yeah.
But that you having access to a man and a woman during your upbringing needs to be brought back. A lot of these men that you were, when you're referring to, what men are doing with women in relationships, it comes from the fact that they lack a man in their upbringing. Mm-hmm. So we got a good majority of men that walk around and their thinking, their emotional capacity is that of a woman. Mm-hmm. Because all they ever saw was how to be an adult from a woman. Yep.
I agree with you.
The mother of two is dead after being shot by her own brother on Christmas Eve. Abrielle Baldwin was trying to break up an argument between her siblings when one of them pulled out a gun. Fox 13's Evan Axelbank reports on what has the sheriff furious and the changes he is now calling for.
Photos Abrielle Baldwin posted to social media show her filled with joy.
She's just a woman going about life, doing her thing with her two kids, trying to make a living, trying to make it.
On Christmas Eve, while at her grandmother's home on 22nd Avenue in Largo, she'd had enough of her brothers bickering. DeMarcus and Darcus began pulling guns on one another.
Abrielle told DeMarcus, quote, "You all need to leave that stuff alone. Why are you trying to start it? It's Christmas."
They both had been fighting over Christmas presents, with the 15-year-old Darcus jealous that their mom had spent more on gifts for 14-year-old DeMarcus. After Abrielle stepped in, DeMarcus pulled a gun and fired, killing her and sending her son and his nephew, an 11-month-old, falling to the ground. Then Darcus pulled his own gun and shot DeMarcus, leaving him badly injured.
This proliferation of guns on the streets and guns in this area and guns in the hands of these kids, this is the worst I've ever seen. I don't think we've ever seen it this bad.
The sheriff says the area around 22nd Avenue in Largo has been subject to extra patrols lately, with 13 gun-related incidents since September. He says his office has gotten reports of 17 guns stolen from unlocked cars. He suspects the guns used in this shooting were obtained that way.
And people can't leave their car doors unlocked and leave their guns in their cars. It's got to stop.
Further, the sheriff says both juveniles have been let off the hook too easily by the juvenile justice system, particularly DeMarcus, who has a history of violence against school staff and law enforcement. The sheriff is calling for tougher laws.
They are not getting the consequences that they should get that keep them from doing it again and again and again.
Abrielle was only 23, and now her kids, an 11-month-old and a 6-year-old, will have to grow up without her. Evan Axelbank, Fox 13 News.
The other thing, fellas, in vetting these women, who's a good woman and who's not a good woman, pay attention to any female who got some kind of defense when you're giving truthful critiques about the bad behavior of these women. They'll hit you with some garbage like, oh, that's not all women. See, the thing is, if she's not co-signing fully 100% in what you say, then she's one of these whore sympathizers, period. And you got to cut off. See, it's the good ones that have been given tacit approval to the bad behavior of these rotten ass hoes, these bad ones. That's part of the problem. And we as black men, we call each other out all the time. And so those women have no excuse at this point because they see us taking us down the toilet. Ladies, if you behave like a lady, then you'll be treated like a lady. But there's no room in society for these no good women. It's time to bring back public shaming and ridicule. The balance is so out of whack that it's going to take an extreme and harsh response by black men. And you have to be the leaders in this. This is the only way we're going to level everything out again and save our community.
Well, I'm going to close out this video with this. The references made, incidents that occurred, is merely the tip of the iceberg. We're talking juveniles here shooting each other over freaking presents at Christmas time, just this year. Obviously, in this situation, it's a clear example of children not being raised with any discipline or guidance. Albeit the situation with the ballet teacher in the current schools across the nation, as well as you go on your day-to-day chores out in the general public. You got kids out of control, you have women out here out of control, and you can't continue to provide excuses. There has to be consequences for your action. Most men know, typically, as a grown man who's raised a son, who's off on his own, we all realize, and I've told him as well, that no one is coming to save you. Every action has a reaction, and many decisions have consequences. Some good, some bad. You have to live with them. But I want to hear from you in the comments section. Tell me, what do you think about the current state of our society, parenting, and the family structure? Is it doomed? I know some men have chosen to go elsewhere and look in other communities. There is a generation of young men who are choosing not to even deal in their own community based on what is available to them today. As always, I want to thank you for watching. Please take the opportunity to look at other videos here on the channel. Finally, I wish you a happy and prosperous new year. And as always, have a good day.